In this presentation, we will be continuing on with our comprehensive problem on January 16th, where we have paid cash for year of insurance. For more accounting information and accounting courses, visit our website at accountinginstruction.info. So in other words, we're buying insurance for a year of insurance that we're going to get, coverage for a year, in other words, and we're purchasing that with cash. Okay, so we're going to go down here in cell B27, January 16th. Now to think about this, first things first, we paid, is cash affected? Yes, that's our first question. Is cash affected? Yes, we paid cash. So that's easy for us to first think about before going into anything else. So, and note that we're decreasing cash. What I'm not thinking about here is what's the debit first? Why do I want to I don't need to think from top to bottom, left to right. I think from what's the easiest thing to do to figure this thing out in the fastest and most efficient way, and that is first dealing with cash. So cash is affected, it's going down, cash has a debit balance, so we're going to do the opposite thing to it, a credit. So we'll copy the cash, right click and copy. We're going to put that on the bottom. Here's our date. We're going to put it on the bottom of the date in cell C28. C28, it's right there. We're going to right click and paste 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to go to the Home tab. This is probably done for you already. I'm going to increase the indenting by going to the Alignment group and increase the indentation. The amount is going to be in the credit side, and it is for, I believe it was 12,000. Totally knew that. So we're going to put negative 12,000. Then we're going to debit something for 12,000. I'm going to use a little formula to do that. Negative of that number. And there we have it. Okay, so the tricky thing is on the other side, what's the debit going to be for the account? If we look at our trial balance, which I always recommend having in front of you, even if you're working like test questions, to have some trial balance, even if it's not the same one that you're working on, because it'll give you an idea oftentimes. If we look at it, we can see, okay, there's a prepaid insurance, has the word insurance in it. That's a contender. And then here's an insurance down here, which is insurance expense, also a contender. So of the two, should we put it into prepaid insurance, an asset, or should we put it into insurance expense, an expense? And this one's a little bit weird. You always, whenever you see insurance, you just want to just remember that typically we want to always put it into the asset when we buy it. And the reason is because insurance is just one of those things that we haven't used yet. So when we bought it, just like when we bought the equipment, we haven't consumed it. We're going to consume it as they give us coverage over time. They're going to give us liability protection, but they haven't done it yet. They're going to give us liability protection over the next year. So we're not going to put it into the expense, because if we did so, we would be lowering net income by an entire year's worth of insurance. And that would make this month, the month of January, look really bad as compared to next month, the month of February, because our net income would be way lower. And if that's not fair to January, that's not a good comparison. That would make us start thinking that January is a terrible month. And it's not necessarily, because it's just, so we don't want to allocate the entire expense there. So therefore, we're going to put it into the prepaid insurance, and then we will adjust it as part of our normal adjusting entries at the end of the time period, at the end of each month, taking a month's worth out of it and recording it to the expense as it is consumed, not when it's paid. Okay, so we're going to copy prepaid insurance, right click and copy. We're going to put that on the top here in C27, right click and paste 1, 2, 3. We have now gone through the process of journalizing, making the journal entry in the general journal, this blue area. Now we're going to post it, the process of posting, to the general ledger over on the right. To do that, you could make things really small by going over here and make things really small so you can see things and you can squint at the screen and know exactly where things go, and that might work if you have good eyes. I'm going to make it large here, and we're going to use the freeze panes option. So we're going to scroll up top to do this. We're going to go to the right just a bit so that B is flush with the side. We're going to scroll all the way up and go to cell K1, View tab, Windows group, Frozen panes, freeze the pane. Then if we go to the right, we see that cells B through E are frozen. Then we'll post this out. Going to scroll down, prepaid insurance, the first one we want to post. There it is on the journal entry. Scrolling back up, here it is on the trial balance. What is it? That's the 6th or 5th account. Same over here on the general ledger account. So we got cash, accounts receivable, supplies, prepaid, rent, which I'm not sure we have any rent. I don't know why that account's there, but that's okay. We want to be at prepaid insurance. Don't put it into prepaid rent. That's nothing. So prepaid insurance. So we are in cell S28, where we will say equals and point to that 12,000, bringing the zero balance up by 12,000 to 12,000. And this then is going to be used in order to create the trial balance. To see that, we'll click right over here to the left side of the frozen panes, and we'll go to the right with the arrows, and that'll pop back over. And there it is. There's the prepaid insurance. Wonderful. Now we're going to scroll back down. We're out of balance by that 12,000 until we record the other side, the cash. So scrolling back up, here's cash on the trial balance, first account. Here it is on the GL, also the first account. If we scroll back down, we want to be here in P14, and we want to pick up this cash, 12,000. So we might have to scroll a little bit. We don't have to scroll at all. It's perfect. So we're in P14. We're going to say equals and point to that 12,000, bringing the 43,000 debit down by doing the opposite thing to it, a credit to 31,000. This 31,000 then being used to generate the trial balance. If we click to the left of the frozen panes, go to the right just a bit, scrolling back up, there's the 31,000. We are back in balance down here, indicated by the green zeros, indicating that the debits minus the credits are zero. And we can see that the cash has gone up, and the cash went down. We paid for insurance, and the prepaid insurance went up. Assets then, as a total, remain the same. So assets remain the same. Note if we look at this again, and also note there's no effect on net income. No effect on net income, even though we paid $12,000 because we haven't yet consumed any of it yet. There will be an effect for this month's income statement, and that will be done when we do the adjusting journal entries at the end. If we just see what we have so far, remember that the assets add up to 131,000. And notice how nicely and easily we can do this by properly formatting our trial balance. There's 131,000. Our liabilities and equity add up to 131,000. So that's nice. So our assets equal liabilities plus equity. We know that of the 131,000 assets that are claimed, these are claimed by other people, 19,000. If we went out of business, we would still have to pay 16 and 3 to these individuals or companies or whoever they are. And the rest of it, 112, is allocated to the owners. The 40, the 50, and the 10 is certainly going to Smith, Jones, and Brown. This 12,000 income, we have to break out between the three in accordance with their profit sharing, which we will do at the end of the time period. For more accounting information and accounting courses, visit our website at accountinginstruction.info.